S.H.FIGUARTS Dragon Ball Z Krillin, Earth's Strongest Man, was released on the 29th of January as a regular over-the-counter release and retails for 5,500 yen or roughly 50 US dollars. As always, this is the Japanese release as I live here in Japan, but Krillin should be shipping from various online stores pretty soon, if not already. So check your emails. I know Krillin is already out in some areas of Asia like Hong Kong, so for the rest of the world, I think it'll be pretty soon. So I know this is only the second release in the year, but I think Krillin, Earth's Strongest Man, a pretty impressive title, or Krillin 2.0, is going to be one of my favorite figures of the year. And I think that's saying a lot since we have quite an impressive roster lined up for the first half of 2022. I mean, I'm not going to get into spoilers, but this guy here is one impressive little figure. Krillin, for many collectors, including myself, was one of those highly sought after figures that unfortunately, if you came into the hobby a little late, missed out on the original, which to this day commands a pretty hefty price tag. And when compared to some of the other older 1.0 figures in the line, it still holds up pretty well, and it's a figure that you can definitely display with your newer releases. I've never actually owned the original Krillin figure, but from what I've seen and heard, it's a figure that still looks pretty great. Probably wouldn't mind picking up myself one even with this newer version. However, because Krillin was so inaccessible, a 2.0 was sorely overdue, and boy did Tamashii deliver. To be honest, there really isn't much I can fault about this figure. It's pretty much all I want in a Krillin release, and for someone who never owned the original, this is a godsend at 50 bucks. I mean, let's start with the new body. Other than some small gaps you get with the new crutch setup and the fact that it doesn't have much paintwork, which is, pretty much the norm for the S.H.FIGUARTS Dragon Ball line by now, Krillin is pretty much perfect. This new 3.0 body, and I'm going to be calling it 3.0 because Tamashii have used the same setup with Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and it looks like, they'll be using a very similar design, kind of just upscaling it with the upcoming Ultimate Gohan, and I guess pretty much every other new figure from now on going forward. And I gotta say, this is the best articulated Dragon Ball figure to date, and I'll get into the articulation a little more later in this review, but it's buttery smooth. They've cleaned up the crotch area, made it simpler without sacrificing range of motion. The shoulders are much better, making, Kamehameha poses or, your standard two-handed blast poses a lot more natural looking. The shoulder pieces, which used to be, attached via a ball joint, are now a part of the shoulder, with the orange parts kind of forming the butterfly joints as well. Everything just works really well without compromising aesthetics. The proportions on Krillin are spot on. He's short and a little stocky and even has like a thicker neck, which, Krillin does compared to the other characters. I tried putting on, and, this is what I thought of instantly when I first got this figure, was trying to put on the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan head on the body, on this Krillin body, to get that, BoJack movie look. But it just doesn't work because of, how thick Krillin's neck is. Like I said before, there isn't too much paintwork going on, as most of Krillin is just molded orange plastic. We do get a bit of shading on his pants, but that's pretty much it. The laces around his ankles are painted in there nicely. The obi part of the sash part of his belt is also painted, and it matches the blue of the knot area pretty spot on. But yeah, all the details on Krillin are really clean. The Kame logo on the front and back are immaculate. Really no QC issues at all on this guy, even with the joints as well. Everything is nice and tight, and like I said, it's just really smooth. Head sculpts on Krillin are fantastic as well. We get 4 in total, and again, really expressive, really anime-esque, and just exactly how I picture Krillin from the anime. Tamashii killed it with these head sculpts. No misprints, no botchy paintwork. It's all crisp and on point. Okay, so let's take a look at Krillin 2.0's articulation, and it's the 3.0 body setup. Like I said, we have seen very similar elements of this in the Super Saiyan 4 figure. But yeah, everything about this figure, the articulation on this figure is completely brand new. So starting with the head, I'm just going to take off Krillin's head and show you what it's like underneath. You know, we've seen this, you know, setup before with Nappa, and I think, who else? Doesn't come to mind right now, but yeah, there are a couple of figures that have this kind of, you know, I guess ball joint and I guess socket set up, and it works really well. As you can see here, Krillin gets a lot of tilt. Look at that, left and right. Of course, he's got swivel as well, and Krillin does look up relatively far, and he can bury his head down to his chest pretty well as well. His neck is a separate piece here, so it does give Krillin a bit of movement. It's not too much, but it does add to the range of movement you get there with the head. For the shoulders, again, you know, he's got those really good updated butterfly joints that can bring his arms really far in. I think that can go a little bit further. Look at that. And just like before, you know, this is perfect for, you know, Kamehameha poses or any kind of standard front-facing blast pose or punches, anything you want Krillin to do. He's got 360 there, of course, and his arm goes way past 90 degrees, which is great. You have your upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and of course your standard hinges and swivels and hinges. There we go. The new torso setup is also great. You get a lot of movement in the torso there. It might not be, I guess, as smooth as the 1.0, the original figure, but you do get a lot of range out of this new setup. And again, you know, he can tilt side to side, perfect for those, I guess, side kicking poses. Just look at that. Got Krillin doing a side kick there. Really love that new torso. The belt here, this rubbery, I guess, knot piece here is on a swivel, so you can move it up and down or side to side. The actual belt is actually sculpted to the crotch, and it's just painted in a dark blue, and it matches, you know, really well as well. So like Super Saiyan 4 Goku, you have the, I guess, butt flap there at the back. So Krillin isn't going to kick back, but he does kick forward, you know, 90 degrees. But he gets really good side split. Look at that. It's almost a full 180. Actually, that is a full 180. Look at that. Really good stuff. You get the upper thigh cut there. There is a bit of a gap, but I guess, yeah, like with this new leg setup, and it's the same issue with Super Saiyan 4 Goku. You get some gaps there in the crotch. You get some gaps here in the knee joints as well. Krillin does have double jointed knees, so if you look into the knee there. There is some gapping, but I'm fine with that. I mean, for the articulation that we get, it's totally fine with me. There is no boot cut, but we do get a swivel there at the ankle. Krillin does kick down about that much, and he kicks up. Not too high actually, but we do get, your toe joint there. And again, yes, we have the updated feet articulation, and Krillin gets some really good ankle pivot, which is fantastic. Again, I'm really loving the new feet articulation on these newer figures. Such a good upgrade. But yeah, all in all, just some really good articulation on this new 3.0 setup. Really happy with it. And a lot of fun to pose as well. So I think the rule of thumb with Tamashii is that, the smaller the figure is, the more accessories you get. Because, you get pretty much everything you would need for a Krillin release, at least for me anyway. The only thing I would have liked Tamashii to include was probably an extra happy face option for Krillin. Goku got a happy face with the latest Super Saiyan updated Goku figure. I don't remember. Full power Goku. But yeah, I think Krillin should have gotten one too. We do get a surprised face, but I think a happy face is just as important and really a part of Krillin's character. In saying that, we still get 4 very expressive head sculpts that I'm really happy with. A stern face, a teeth gritting face, an open mouth shouting face, and as I mentioned, a surprised face. For hands, you guys know I love hands when it comes to my figures. Krillin comes with these really beautifully sculpted hands. Actually, quite a few sets of them that you can just use in so many display options. 2 fists, 2 open palm hands, 2 fighting pose hands, 2 Kamehameha hands, 2 solar flare hands, and a pair of hands with peg holes for Krillin's Kienzan or Destructo disc. But that's not all, we also get a hand holding some sensu beans, and I've always wanted a hand holding sensu bean accessory. It's simple, but it's something that we've never gotten from Tamashii, till now. But the great thing is that you can also use this hand with Super Saiyan 2 Gohan as well if you have that figure, and kind of recreate that scene in the Cell games where Gohan takes them from Cell. And last but definitely not least, we get the Destructo disc itself, and I'm so happy they included this in the release. It's such a signature move for Krillin. I know other characters have used it as well, but Krillin is, who I think of first when I think of this move. It's not just a flat disc or 2 discs like I think the original figure came with. This piece actually has some serrated details sculpted into the edges. It's a translucent plastic piece with some nice yellow shading fading out as it gets closer to the center. And all you need to do to get Krillin to hold it is just plug it into one of his Kienzan hands. So I'm sure all of you know how I feel about this figure already, but I'm going to say it again. I absolutely love this release, and even though I've never owned the original, I'm going to go ahead and say that this is a definite upgrade. The 3.0 articulation setup is just so much fun and so easy to pose. The aesthetics really capture Krillin from the Cell arc in that anime look. You get a ton of accessories and the Destructo disc, and to top that off, or at least for my copy anyway, no QC issues. I really can't recommend this one enough. It's a regular release, so he'll be easy to find or easier to find. And for those of us who never got the original 1.0, this is it. Finally, a Krillin in my collection, another 2.0 or 3.0 to fill out my Z Fighters. And all we need is a new Trunks, a new Yamcha, a Vegeta 3.0, and a Z Roshi. I'm sure we will get a new 3.0 Goku sometime in the near future, but for now, these are the other characters I'd love Tamashii to see update. Again, this one is a no-brainer. Even if you have the original, Krillin is still a figure I would definitely recommend you pick up. It's just a lot of fun and you definitely won't regret it. Alright guys, that's all from me. What 2.0 or 3.0 characters would you like to see Tamashii make next? Do you think any original 1.0 figure is better than their newer versions? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, keep safe out there and stay healthy everyone. And as always, yoroshiku!